Hey, and welcome to the Jessica Paul podcast. I'm your host, Jess Paul, actress, manifestation expert, and mindset coach. And I'm here to share with you all of my secrets on confidence, success, and the magic of manifestation. If you're ready to dive in deep and see more success in your career, more money in your bank account, and more love in your life with a whole new level of freedom, then you're in the right place. I'm letting loose on everything you need to take back control of your life, up-level your mindset, and tap into your manifestation powers. I'm so excited that you're here. Hello, you gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the JP podcast. It is I, Jess Paul, here to help you manifest the life that you love, completely transform your energy and your mindset so that you are calling everything you have ever desired into your life. Guys, welcome back. So great to have you back here on the pod. Right, so today we're sitting down and we're talking about something that's literally just happened to me because when I say literally just happened to me, I mean over the last few days. I have been hit by a big freaking curveball, and we're going to talk about it today. And we're going to talk about how to navigate those curveballs from the universe. Because guys, we always get sent them every now and again. And sometimes it is just so freaking annoying. And we have to learn how to manage that vibe and how to deal with them, right? So it's funny because this has been a topic that has been like a huge topic inside my academy at the moment as well, how to deal with these curveballs and navigating it. So I'm going to bring it all into the podcast for you all this Friday so that you can have a little think about how we can navigate these things when they do come up. But before we get into that, I'm going to give you all a little life update because everything was going so smooth. Like before I got hit by this curveball and everything suddenly started going wrong, everything was going so smooth, and I have been like powerfully manifesting so many things. So I think I mentioned in literally the last episode of this podcast that I had manifested these auditions and boom, got one of them straight out the bat. So I landed a commercial, guys, which is not only TV work and just freaking fun, but it's also money. Like there you go, like a big chunk of money been manifested in a way that you just least expect it, you know? So I'm actually shooting that commercial tomorrow, so I'll let you know how that goes. But that was like a really, really nice manifestation to fly in. And the other little manifestation that I had this week was actually, again, and I've been mentioning this a lot on the pod, about how I've wanted to do more guest expert kind of speaking and like just being involved in different events as like a guest expert, as a coach and a creative. And just out of the blue, well, it's never out of the blue, but I got asked to actually go and be a guest expert at the National Theatre, guys, in London, which is a big fucking deal. Like for me, the National Theatre, and again, if there's like any of my actors listening to this podcast, like it's a theatre that so many actors want to work in, right? Let's be honest. It's one of those theatres that you're like, oh my gosh, yes, if I could just get on that national stage. But I got asked to be a guest expert there for an event they're running. To talk about mindset, to talk about manifestation, to talk about all the things I do as a coach and, you know, a coach for creatives in that way. So that for me was like another just a big manifestation, just kind of like out the blue, but really it's what I've been channeling. It's what I've wanted. This is what I wanted this year to be about for me. I wanted to be out there in public, like face to face, now that like we're kind of navigating our way out of COVID. And to have more of these events. And so I cannot wait for that. So that is, I'm going to be there at the National this Friday. So, today, sorry, because I'm recording this podcast obviously a few days before. So I'm going to be there today. So very, very exciting. And again, I'll let you know how that goes. And actually, going to take a moment here just to express how fucking cool it is. Because for me, I had a moment, and I did put a story up on my Instagram and my TikTok about how I had a realization the other day that I am living the life that I dreamt of only 2 years ago. I'm now living everything that I once dreamt of. And it's just like a little reminder for you today to kind of look back on your life and do you see how far you've come? Because I think it was as I came back in from shooting a short film all day, knowing that I had this commercial to shoot this week, and like having money manifest into my account, having my clients absolutely smash it, like all of these things happening in my life. And I just sat there and I just took a moment to appreciate it. I was like, wow, this is everything that I wanted. And only 2 years ago, I was in the depths of despair, like quite literally. I mean, I'm laughing now, but honestly, I actually was, guys, when my ex-boyfriend left. And basically, I just think really the message is don't give up, guys, because I'm talking about these manifestations flowing in right now, but you know, it never used to be that way for me, right? Like I've got to a point, and especially moving into 2022, I have started accessing like a whole new side of me spiritually, and really like opening up my third eye chakra, and doing a lot of work. Guys, I'm not going into it right now, but I am doing a whole podcast episode on this for you, because I've been reaching like really new levels of consciousness, which is one of the reasons that I have been manifesting at such speed. Like just ever since moving into this year, everything has been like boom, 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 boom. And it's actually something that I teach inside my academy, because when you can access that level of consciousness, that is when things flow in straight away, which is why all of these things that I have got intentional about, guys, like, you know, I got intentional about bagging a commercial because like of all the reasons I said, it's fun, it's on TV, it's money. I got intentional about this guest speaking, like all these things. But now there's like, I've completely closed that gap, and these things seem to be flowing to me like just immediately. And that's what happens when you do work on that side of yourself. So basically, it's just don't give up, because if you keep working on your inner world and you keep managing the vibration in the way that like you want to, these things are going to flow in every single day. It's going to become your norm to just have these things flow to you straight away. And that's kind of the life I'm living now. And it's just great to be able to sit back and reflect on that. So that's just a little thing to think about. Like, how far have you guys come? And just sit into the appreciation and the gratitude for that. So, on that note, guys, let's talk about the curveball that I was recently hit with. Because there's me saying, oh yeah, my life is like super smooth, everything's going so well, things are flowing in, manifesting like crazy, and then boom, you are hit with a curveball. And suddenly you're like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't plan this. I wasn't in this vibe. Like, how did this even happen? Why is this happening, right? And that is actually something we're going to talk about, because that is a question that a thought that we will most likely go to when you're hit with a curveball. The first thing we think is, why is this happening to me, right? It's a classic. And I'm going to talk you through why that shouldn't be the first thought. Why, like, if we change that thought, then we're going to see things move with more ease. So basically, guys, I got hit with a curveball, which actually ties in with something else that I was going to be mentioning anyway, in terms of life update and manifestation, because it ties into like a huge life update that I have for you all that I was so excited to share with you, and I still am, because it's happening. And that is, I'm going to Mexico, guys. I am so fucking excited. I am going to Mexico with my assistant, actually. We are going together. We are going there literally in a week. Wait, hang on a sec. No, when this podcast comes out, we'll be there in like a few days. Seems like kind of a spur of a moment thing. It kind of was, kind of wasn't. Like, again, I had been manifesting, I want to get away. I want to get away, but specifically to somewhere that I've never been before, that's going to be like a real kind of like culture change. And obviously as well, I want to get in the vitamin D, and I wanted a beach. Okay, so these are things that I had been intentionally manifesting again, and then it kind of just fit in a way where my assistant, her sister actually lives out there now, and so we're going to go and visit her where she lives. So we're just going to have a week of all the spiritual fun. Her sister actually she runs like a yoga kind of retreat thing out there, so we're going to be doing yoga, we're going to do a lot of meditation, just being in nature and lying on a beach, and just all the vibes, basically, just all the vibes that I had been manifesting. And it's happening only a few months into the year, so I'm just super excited. But here's the thing, guys. So everything is going really smoothly. This was something that I was going to like put on the podcast like as a life update. It was always going to be my life update for today, and then got hit with a curveball. And essentially what happened was my passport expires in May, and you need 6 months on your passport in order to travel to Mexico, travel like across the globe. And I obviously didn't have 6 months on my passport. So essentially I couldn't fly, right? And we had everything booked, all the accommodation, all the flights, everything was booked, everything was sorted. And then a week before, can't fly, right? So in this situation, what do you freaking do? So I just want to like talk you through again what like these curveballs are. Like I said, it's a point where everything seems to be going well, quite smoothly, like nothing's going dramatically wrong, your vibe feels good, and then just suddenly something happens and just completely throws you off kilter. And like I said, this has been like a topic that we have been discussing inside the academy so much, so it was so funny that it literally happened to me this week. But guys, what you need to know is that the universe is only going to throw you a curveball into your path for one or two things. One, it's either because it is protecting you from something, and we don't know what that is yet, but it is protecting you. Or two, it's trying to make you freaking grow, right? It wants you to grow, okay? And the thing is, in this life, we have to be ready for the things that we want in life. We have to be ready for our manifestations in order for them to come into our life. So sometimes if the universe thinks, oh, you're not quite ready yet, like it can throw something in your path that is in order for you to learn a lesson from it so that you can grow from it and so that you can become ready for that thing, right? So there's one or two things. And, you know, the main thing you need to know about curveball is that it's never moving you further away from your goal. It's always moving you further towards your goal. It might not feel like it, but it is literally always moving you closer. And there's always a reason behind it, okay? There's always a reason behind it. It's not easy to think about in the moment when these things are happening, but this is part of the inner work. So basically, I want to talk you through how I dealt with this curveball. And actually, disclaimer, guys, like it's all sorted now for all of the reasons that I'm about to tell you. And basically, hopefully this podcast episode can give you that advice and, you know, that, I don't know, like basically give you what you need to hear about how to deal with a curveball if it comes up in your life. Because obviously I'm talking about my specific curveball here, but like we're always going to get them. And like I said, the universe is doing it for a reason. So, and this question comes up a lot from my clients, you know, like how has this happened right now when everything seemed to be going okay? Like my vibration was in a good place, like everything, you know, I was attracting good things, like, and it honestly, it's actually a tactic. It's there to actually, like I said, propel you closer to where you want to be in life. It doesn't feel like it in the moment. Again, like probably the biggest curveball that I have mentioned time and time and time again on this podcast, which was a big one, was when my ex-boyfriend left. Because that was such a curveball. I didn't see that happening, you know, maybe deep down subconsciously I did. But in the moment, I didn't see that happening. But it was like the best redirection I could have ever had because I wouldn't have anything I have today otherwise. Okay, so these again, I'm going to talk you through like the mindset of how to deal with them because it's going to help you. So first of all, for me, what I was so surprised about in myself, and it just goes to show the inner work, was that I was so fucking calm. I was so calm, guys, when I first found this out, because it was actually a friend of mine. It was a conversation I was having with a friend, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this podcast as well, about the synchronicities of that. But he just mentioned it. I went for a drink with my friend and I have no idea how the conversation came up, but I was telling him about Mexico. And then he was like, mentioned something about the passport and about the 6-month thing. And I was like, what? Like, hang on a sec. So anyway, it's what led me to then call the airline up and just double check. And of course, the airline was like, yes, you need 6 months on your passport. And I was like, okay, just to confirm then, does that mean I can't fly? And they were like, yes. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I was so, obviously I didn't say great, but I was so surprised at how calm I was. And here's the thing, your reaction is everything. It is everything. When you're hit with a curveball, your reaction is everything. If you react in a way, and this is how I used to react to things that didn't go to plan, I used to just have full-blown meltdowns. I just used to get so anxious about everything and just, feel like the world was ending when things just didn't quite go to plan. And half of that was because of how insecure I felt as a person. So I wanted things to be perfect. But when you can react in a calm way and your vibration is steady, then that means that everything is going to move with ease. And now, again, I put this up on my Instagram today, and I basically said, like, one of the main mantras that I just kept saying on repeat when this first happened, when I first found out about the passport, was, I am allowing it to be easy. I'm allowing it to be easy. And I said that on repeat. I said that on repeat last night and on repeat this morning. Because here's the thing, you get to choose how easy your life is. You get to choose how easily you move through these curveballs. And if you react in like a state of chaos and a state of panic and a state of kind of just meltdown, then all you're going to do is you're going to spiral and you're going to cause that curveball to expand, okay? And it's one of the reasons why I have navigated this curveball so well and come out the other side so well, which I never used to do, guys. Like, I'm telling you now, I used to always have mini meltdowns whenever anything didn't go to plan. And this time round, I just reacted in such a calm way. And honestly, the only reason that I reacted so calmly was because of a core belief. And that core belief was, everything is working out. So the immediate thought for me in that moment, it wasn't, why is this happening to me? Which is honestly a thought that most people go back to when we are hit with these curveballs. A lot of us will just immediately think that. But my immediate thought wasn't, why is this happening to me? My immediate thought was, duh, this was always supposed to happen, right? It was such a, and I use this phrase a lot within my academy, we've got this like state of being where we've just got this like duh state, like of course state, like done deal state. But for me, my immediate thought was, duh, of course this was supposed to happen. The universe has given me this curveball for a reason. It was always supposed to happen in this way. It was always supposed to hit me in this way. And where that was coming from really was just this core belief that everything is working out. It doesn't matter how it happens. Doesn't matter when it happens. Doesn't matter about all of that stuff. It's all working out. So, of course, it was supposed to happen in this way. So, basically, when you're living in that state and in that belief, like, everything just is calm. Because you've got this air of control about it. You've got like such control over the situation. If you're choosing to believe it was always supposed to happen this way, it's fine. It's cool, right? Whereas when we go into panic mode over something, we're essentially just signaling to the universe, I'm out of control right now. I don't have any control over the situation. When that's just not true, because we always have control over how we think and feel. We always have control over our vibration. We might not always have control over the things that happen in our life and the curveballs we're hit with, but we always have the choice over how we react. So for me, I was just super freaking surprised how calm I was. And like I said, it is just testament to the inner work I've done, because that was my immediate thought, guys. And it's such a simple change in your mindset. It's such a simple thought to immediately go to that changes everything to do with your state and how easy it feels. So the other thing that I did in that moment is that I really paid attention. And again, I say I paid attention, like this was all on a subconscious level for me. This is because I've been doing this work for so long now. So this is just natural to me to react in this way. But if you're going through this, you need to be able to pay attention to the language that you have around this subject. What are you saying, right? And one of the things that I really made sure of in this moment was, this is not a problem. I'm not going to make this a quote unquote problem, because there is no such thing as a problem in my life. And that's just, again, a core belief of mine, right? There is no such thing as a problem in my life. Nothing goes wrong in my life, okay? And when you start to use the word problem, like, it implies that there's something we need to fix and that it's going to be hard work, okay? So I just immediately got rid of the word problem from my vocabulary, because I did initially think, okay, right, I've got to text Frankie and tell her this is what's happened, this is the situation. And I went to go and voice note her, and I went to go and say, okay, we've got a bit of a problem. And then I literally deleted the voice note, because I was like, no, I'm not going to affirm that this is a problem, because it's not. This was always supposed to happen. Everything is working out for me. So I'm not going to affirm that it's a problem. It's not a problem, right? So like, that's the other thing that I really made sure of. It was the language I was using around it. Now, the other thing that I really made sure of was not to let other people expand the situation or the problem, right? Because if other people think that it's a problem, if other people think that it's an issue, and they're then affirming that to me and saying, oh, Jess, what are you going to do? This is really bad. This is like not good news. Then they're just affirming that reality that I don't want to live with. So the other thing that I had to do was I had to be like, and this actually did happen when my friend Liam actually said to me about the passport, and then he was like, oh, I'm going to Google it now. I'm going to Google it and see. And I went, no, Liam, please don't do that right now. And he was like, oh, I just want to, like, why you need to know? I was like, no, I don't want to know right now. And I was really adamant about it. I was like, I don't want to do this right now because I'm not in the right vibration. And if I start falling into a vibration of kind of like panic over this, then it's going to push things away, right? You know, I'm not going to be in the right vibe. So I really put my foot down over it. I was like, don't do that yet, whatever, but blah, blah, blah. I found out in my own time. But when dealing with this, you've got to make sure, like, who else is around you affirming it? Who else is around you affirming a problem that's not actually a problem, right? So, and on the flip side of this, when I called my mum about it, because by the way, guys, like, I had my moment. Everybody has their moment where you got to feel the emotion. Like, I did have a little mini cry over this because I was like, oh my God, you know, and like, I let the emotion come to the surface, but it was only for literally about 5 minutes. That was it. But when I called my mum, she was the complete opposite. She was like, Jess, you're a fucking manifestation expert. Well, she didn't swear, but she said, you're a manifestation expert. You know what you're doing. Manifest it. And I was like, thanks, mum. That was the biggest kick up the ass I needed, right? So, you know, surround yourself with those people that are going to literally, when something goes, like when there is a curveball that comes up in your life, can tell you, get your ass in gear and manifest it because you're in control, right? Rather than the people that are going to tell you, oh my God, this is a massive, huge problem. What are you going to do? This is awful. Because they're just going to be dragging your spirit down. They're going to be dragging your vibration down, right? So that was another thing that I really made sure of. And by the way, like, Liam wasn't dragging my vibration down. I just was really firm with it. I was like, no, Liam, this is a vibrational thing. And he gets it. He doesn't quite get it, but he's learning from me. And so he's like, okay, right. Yeah, no worries. I won't say anything. But like, that was the other thing I made sure to do, because the whole point of where my mindset was going around with this was, this is not a problem. Everything is working out. I am in control. And so I was doing everything to affirm that for myself. Now, the other thing that I made sure of, and this is something that I live with anyway, was just having this air of certainty. Guys, when you are hit by a curveball, you just have to be so fucking certain that you are going to have your thing. It is going to get to you, right? And if it doesn't get to you, like, let's say, like I said, the universe is either only trying to protect you from something that isn't aligned to you, so they're like redirecting you. Like I said, that's what happened when my ex left me. Or it is helping you grow in some way. But living with that state of certainty that you are freaking in control, that it is a done deal. And that is exactly where my mindset was. I was like, it's a done deal that I'm going to Mexico. I don't have to force this because that's happening, right? Just like that much freaking confidence in your manifestation happening. So I was just living with that certainty. So all the phone calls I was making, all the like rearrangements that I was doing, all the, getting online, because again, like, this is a lengthy process, guys, in the action I was taking. I had to try and book in for an appointment to get an urgent passport renewal, which, by the way, like, just defeats the whole object of it being an urgent renewal, because you've got to book in for an appointment to get this done. And when I went online, there were no appointments available until like 2 days after we were due to fly. So I was like, okay, here's another little curveball being thrown at me again. So like, but this whole way throughout all of this process that I was going through with this situation, I was living with this done deal level of certainty. It is happening. We are going to Mexico. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't care how it's going to happen, but it's happening, right? And it's that level of confidence and that level of certainty that is going to see you win the manifestation. And guys, like, I'm telling you, this was the smoothest freaking process of something that could have caused, old Jess to have had, like I said, a complete breakdown over this, because we've invested a lot of money into this trip. There was so much rearranging, so much booking of different things going on, and like, overwhelmed Jess, she would have had a breakdown. And it was something that was like, could have been easily overwhelming, but I chose to not be overwhelmed. I chose to live in that mantra, I am allowing it to be easy. And because I chose it to be easy, it genuinely was. And guys, there were so many other things that were coming up. Like I said, trying to book in that urgent passport renewal. And then, trying to change the flights, like being on hold to the airline for a freaking hour, like, all of these different things. But one thing I will say as well about how this manifested, was that because I was living in this vibration, because I was affirming, I'm allowing it to be easy, and I was in this level of certainty, and I knew it was all happening for a reason, and it was always supposed to happen in this way. Just the way it happened in terms of who I spoke to as well. Everybody I spoke to on the phone, including the woman that I spoke to at the passport office, including the airline people that I spoke to from Mexico, they were all just the nicest, sweetest people on the phone to me. And when you've ever had it where like you are trying to sort an issue out over the phone, and sometimes you can get really bad customer service, right? That like really sends you, kind of just like really freaking annoys you. I had the best customer service. Everybody was so helpful for me. I actually said to the guy on the phone when I was like rebooking the flights, I said, listen, I need to book in for my passport slot, because you've got to book an appointment. And by the way, that's a non-refundable appointment of like 180 quid to get this urgent passport. And the slots were going super fast. So I had to essentially rebook a new flight and book in for a slot at the same time. And I was sat on this phone to him and I said, listen, can you stay on hold with me right now? And I go and do that. And can I come back to this? And he was like, absolutely, yeah. And he waited there for like half an hour whilst I was filling out this online thing. Guys, it was just so smooth. And the other thing about it was how well I manifested in like the money side of things. And guys, this has been a topic. You know that I like to talk about money manifestation. Like changing flights to Mexico, that was the one thing. And again, my dad did say it. He was like, that might be the thing that really like trips you up. And I was like, no, it won't be. And literally, guys, changing flights when traveling to Mexico, that could have cost an arm and a leg. It could have cost so much money to change those flights. We managed to change those flights for just the add-on of, I think it was around 70 quid for each for me and Frankie. And that is nothing compared to what it could have been if we had to like change the whole trip. So what essentially ended up happening was I managed to book in for an urgent passport slot on the 21st, which is when we were due to fly, but managed to change our flight to the next day, all really smooth for only 70 quid. And everything else was all sorted. Everything was fine. So now everything is booked and ready. And like only a day ago, I was in a completely different place where I was like, okay, only just finding out I couldn't fly. And then literally in 24 hours, everything is sorted. And that's how quickly, again, if we talk about speed here with manifestation, that's how quickly things can work out. And that's how easily things can work out when you are living with all of that mindset that I had previously just spoken about. And it really is a choice. It is a choice how you react and what you think in that moment. And guys, this situation for me could have been 10 times worse. Like, I could have turned up to the airport on the day of us flying and then got just turned away from the flight and told I couldn't fly. And that would have been on the day an absolute nightmare, because then you can't sort anything out. You can't change any of the flights. You can't even try and rearrange things. But the very fact that I had that time, even this short amount of time, to move in this frequency of ease, to affirm it's easy and to get the job done and to get it sorted, that was a miracle in itself, right? And actually, this leads me on to the final thing that I want to talk about with curveballs. It's looking out for the signs, guys. Look out for the signs from the universe. One thing that absolutely fascinated me about this whole situation, and because, as I say, like, I've been really working on a level to myself, a side of myself spiritually, and opening up that third eye and deeply listening to my intuition. And I just found it fascinating how that conversation I had with my friend Liam was so connected to everything that just happened. So it was funny because my friend Liam had asked me out for a drink on the Saturday, and I'd been shooting a whole day of filming for the short film that I'm currently in. And so I got back and I was pretty knackered, I'm not gonna lie. But Liam had texted me, he was like, do you want to come out to the pub? And I remember in that moment texting my mum and saying, Liam's asked me out, but she knows that at the moment I'm going through a hermit stage because of this whole like spiritual awakening. So I don't, like, sometimes I do just kind of say, no, I need an evening to myself and whatever after a busy day. But I said to my mum, I'm not going to be a hermit this time, because in that moment I had a hit. I had a very deep intuitive hit that told me, Jess, you need to go out tonight. There's a reason you need to go out tonight. And obviously at the time I had the intuitive hit. I didn't know what the reason was. And I went out, had a great night. And that was my reason. And that for me was just crazy how it was so connected, because as I said before, I have no idea how this conversation came about. Obviously we were talking about Mexico, but I had no idea how the whole passport thing even came up in conversation and why it would, but Liam had just mentioned it for some reason. And that was what led all of this on for me to then call the airline and sort this out. So it's just noticing, guys, for yourself, like the connections, the divine connections that we always have in this universe, because we are all connected. Everything is connected. And it's also listening to the signs that you get and the intuitive hits that you have in situations. Because if I hadn't have listened to that intuitive hit to tell me, Jess, go out tonight, go out to the pub with Liam, and I had just stayed in, I might not have realized this about my passport until I'd got to the airport next week. And that would have been 10 times worse for me. So just knowing that and like looking back and like just being, I'm just fascinated by it, to be honest. Like, but it's such a comfort feeling knowing that everything is connected and that everything is divinely working out for you in that way. And knowing that it is, again, like that's just a huge example of why it's so important to listen to your intuition, right? And luckily for me, it's something that I've been doing on a very, very, very deep level recently. So that just looking for the signs from the universe is also just going to really, really help you in these moments where everything seems to be not going to plan or messing up, and just understanding that everything is divinely connected. So basically, my main message for you here, really, when like dealing with a curveball, is just to make it your norm to immediately switch to that positive in the situation. Like, make it normal for you to do that, because we're so conditioned in this negative mindset bias where like we'll just immediately go to like the worst case scenario in a situation, when actually like if you're living with a core belief that everything is always working out for you, then nothing ever has to be a problem. Like I said, nothing ever has to feel like hard work. Nothing ever has to feel like it's messing up. You know, as always, feel the feelings, feel the frustration. Like I felt the frustration for like a split second. Like I said, it only took me like 5 minutes, had a little cry. And then I was like, right, I'm over it now. Like, let's manifest the shit out of this, you know? Like you are 100% in control, always, of the curveballs that are hit. You are 100% in control of how you think, how you feel, and how you react in that situation. So if you're reacting in a calm way, in a very sustained, calm, like easy energy, then that's what you're going to attract in the situation. When you move through that curveball, it's going to feel easy, it's going to feel calm, everything's going to happen really quickly for you and easily. Whereas if you react in complete chaos and panic and overwhelm, then the curveball is going to be dragged out and it's going to feel even more overwhelming as you go, okay? Like if I had chosen to have a complete meltdown in that moment, I probably wouldn't have been able to change the flight so easily. Maybe I would have had someone on the phone on the customer service that was really not very nice, or, you know, all of these things that could have manifested through that vibration. But because I chose the vibration of calm and ease through that mantra, I'm allowing it to be easy, then the whole process was fucking easy. Okay. And this is how the whole process of your life can be, guys. Like I'm talking about curveballs here, but just everyday life. Some of you might be listening to the podcast and thinking, I'm just in a shit place right now in general. Like nothing seems easy to me. Nothing seems smooth. Everything is going wrong. And again, when you're living with those core beliefs that everything is going wrong, everything is messing up, then that's how your life is going to look. So you can use all of this mindset work to just make your whole life easy in general. Like you can have it so that, you know, you're booking cheap flights and talking to like really kind people on customer service and, you know, sorting situations out quickly. Like that can be your whole life. That can be your whole entire life. And that's how I've been living my life. And it's funny because, like I said, everything for me since moving into 2022 has been so fucking smooth and easy and manifesting like crazy. And then boom, this thing came up, which was literally the universe's way of being like, okay, Jess, we're going to test you now. Like, how well are you how good are you at managing your vibe? And actually, as a coach, this is the thing I get so excited about, is when my students inside the academy, which is what's happening at the moment as well, they just put in the group chat, they're like, oh yeah, I've been hit with this curveball, but everything's cool. Everything's great. It's not even a thing. It's all good. Like this was supposed to happen. And just the language that goes on inside my academy and the way that my students speak to me and speak to each other, it is so powerful to me as a coach, because I can see the shifts happening. Even if like my students can't at the time, I can see the shifts just purely in the language that they use and the mindset that they have. And they're immediate reactions. When I say immediate reactions, I mean subconscious reactions, just the way that you like subconsciously react to something. When you can turn that into a powerful reaction, in the same way that I've kind of spoken about and how I chose to react to this situation on a subconscious level, it just happened, guys. It was natural to me. It was my norm to react in that way. When that can become your norm, to react in the most positive way, to be living with those beliefs, you are going to see your life completely shift into the most easy, smooth thing you've ever experienced. And just a final note on this whole situation and this curveball, as I've been talking you through how I reacted to it. One final thing I want to say here is to remember to laugh through the chaos. And this is something that I think about all the time, because I can't remember who told me this. It was somebody a while back told me to laugh through the chaos. And it was something that's always stuck with me. It's something I tell my students to do as well, because, you know, you've got to remember that we live in a fucking game, guys. We're literally living in a matrix. We're in a game. Life is a game. Life is not something that we should be getting so serious about. You know, when we're hit with these things, if we can learn to laugh through it, and find the funniness out of the fact that we're living in a matrix. Like literally, just as I was saying, like the whole divine connection thing and the signs from the universe and just everything like that, and just kind of looking at the situation from a bird's eye view and being like, this is just fucking funny. Like, this is a game. Let's play the game. And the way you play the game is by becoming a master at your vibration and just allowing the things to happen and having fun. You know, when I was on hold to the airline and literally this guy was taking a very, very long time over confirming our flight change. And I was texting Frankie at the time and I was like, he's still not confirmed it yet. And she was like, oh, he's probably gone for a wee. And I don't know, it just made me crack up. And then I was sitting there laughing and I was thinking, like, this is what life is about. It's a game, okay? So like, that's kind of my final thought on dealing with a curveball. It's just remembering to laugh and have fun and know that it's not always as serious as it seems, regardless of how big or small the curveball is in your life right now. So that's kind of my last message. So this was kind of a long episode, but listen, it's something I've gone through myself, just gone through it. So I know it was something that was going to flow out and be something that was going to benefit all of you going through curveballs, that you will go through a curveball in life. So I want to sum it up really quickly for you and the kind of steps that I took. So the first thing is your reaction is everything. So know that in that immediate moment when something doesn't go to plan, what's your immediate thought? And if your immediate thought is, this was always supposed to happen, or everything is always working out, it's absolutely fine, it's fine, right? Then the state that you're in is going to be a lot calmer, okay? So what is your immediate reaction? Because your reaction is everything. The second thing is to not affirm that it's even a problem. Like, there is no such thing as a problem. There doesn't have to be any kind of problem in your world. Like, don't affirm it. And also, don't let anybody else affirm it. If somebody else around you is panicking or, you know, kind of like affirming that there's an issue going on, just kindly say to them, I don't need to hear that right now, or walk away. Like, you don't need to hear those negative vibes, okay? There is no problem, right? And that's like the second thing that you need to know. The third thing is to just remain in that air of certainty all the way through. Be so certain all the way through. You're dealing with your curveball or, you know, whatever it is you're going through right now. Remain in that air of certainty. It is gonna frickin' happen for you. There are no two ways about it. It is a done deal. Your manifestation is coming to you. And finally, look out for those signs from the universe. Understand that everything is divinely connected, that the universe has always got your back, like literally always. It's always pointing you towards the most aligned thing. And just realizing that it's a game. Like, you can laugh about it. Don't be so serious. Don't be so serious about what is happening in your life right now. However serious it may seem to you and others around you, because I keep saying this, like, I'm using this example of like this whole flight change thing and maybe not being able to travel, which might seem like a trivial thing. I mean, but it depends who you are and what's going on in your life at the moment. And like, you might be going through some really hard things in your life at the moment. And if you are, you still have a choice over how serious you make that, or how kind of like how much pressure you're putting on yourself. You have a choice always in what you think and feel. I love that I just took a break from recording for 1 second and I stopped the recording at 44 minutes. Love that. You see? Always divinely guided, guys. But anyway, this was a full-blown episode, obviously talking about dealing with curveballs from the universe. And I hope this helped some of you guys. And I'd love for you to share with me some of your biggest takeaways over on Instagram. If you'd like to, drop me a DM on Instagram, guys. Like, I'm always inside my DMs. I love hearing from you. If there's any other topics you want me to dive into, want me to discuss, like, I'm always here to listen and share with you all of my knowledge and all of the things I've experienced. But I just hope this is helping. So let me know if it is. And I will be back, of course, the same time next week to chat with you all. But I'm going to be in Mexico then. So sending you all the love. Cannot wait. I'm going to go and embrace this trip because I feel like I fully deserve it even more now. And yeah, I'll chat to you guys soon. Have a gorgeous week. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who you think would love it too. And if you want to let me know how you found it, just screenshot this episode, add it to your Instagram story, and tag me at I am Jessica Paul so that I can throw all the love right back at you. And of course, subscribe, hit those 5 stars, and leave a review to show your support and to keep the good stuff coming. Sending you so much love and gratitude from your girl Jess.